and welcome to the Dish on Divorce. I'm Jennifer Barkin.
And I'm Leanne Townsend.
And today I'm very happy to have Deborah Capaccio, who I've known for quite a while from social media. And Deborah is like a guru to me in the wellness industry. And a lot of people that I'm friends with know her from the Beachbody brand, but I'm especially excited to have Deborah here with us to speak about her new endeavor, which is called Sparkle Girl. Deborah, tell us a little bit about Sparkle Girl.
Hi.
Welcome, Deborah.
Hi, Leanne. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for having me. Yes, I developed Sparkle Girl. It's a wellness brand after I identified a bit of a gap in the market working with hundreds and hundreds of amazing middle-aged women who wanted to be fit forever and feel sexy for good. And they just couldn't stick to a wellness program, right? Sound familiar? And I did kind of a deep dive and I interviewed them and I did my own research and I realized they needed a mindset shift, a deep mindset shift that wasn't really readily available. And I've developed an online transformational mindset course, doesn't exist anywhere, that's called Brain First, Body Second, that will offer a permanent transformation for women who have struggled with their wellness. So very excited.
That's great. And women, particularly going through divorce, it's such a stressful time. And wellness is obviously important at any time, but can you tell listeners why, in particular, when they're going through a divorce and they may least feel like tending to their wellness, why it's so important?
Absolutely. Well, I did go through my own divorce in 2008. I'm happily remarried, so I can speak from some experience. I wasn't as far along on my wellness journey as I am now. And looking back, I can use my progress as a litmus test that if I would have invested a lot more at that time, the conflicts of divorce and the pain of divorce can be minimized. And the reason is, when you're going through a divorce, you are at one of your lowest points emotionally. You're depleted. Your cup is empty. And you're also forced with making some of the hardest decisions of your entire life. The stress is at a max. So my philosophy is when your own health and wellness is optimal and at peak, you will only make healthy decisions. And when we make healthy decisions, we have a quality of life because our life is a series of decisions and choices. That's where we are right now, where we're going tomorrow, and where we were yesterday are a result of our choices. It starts with physical and mental and emotional wellness with you. And when you have that base, you are equipped, you're charged, you're sparkling enough, even in the toughest of times, to make the best decisions for yourself, possibly your children, and your future.
So you said a few minutes ago that this program will permanently change your
Yes.
mindset. So explain to our listeners how something can permanently change, because I'm so used to my own life. I don't know about you, Leanne. It has its ebbs, it has its flows. I have real highs, I have real lows. So how can I permanently change that?
Yes. So first of all, permanently change your mindset doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean we're happy 24/7. Absolutely not. Permanently changing your mindset to solve the problem of being able to sparkle again, stick to your wellness, means changing your identity around how you feel about fitness and wellness. This was the crux of my program and the gap that I found. So for instance, I looked at myself and asked, why was I able 2.5, 3 years ago from going from yo-yo dieting, putting on weight, quitting, stopping, starting to permanently achieve a wellness behavior and pattern and fitness? And why can 20% of my clients do that, but 80 could not? The mindset. And what it is it's an identity we hold, formed from childhood, beliefs, family of origin, circumstances around who we are as a fit person or as not a fit person. My program is actually called I Am a Fit Person, Brain First, Body Second. What the program does is it does a deep mental transformation through exercises, subconscious reprogramming, habit formation. Science is all behind it to actually change the women's mindset about how they feel about their body, food, exercise, and dieting. When they do that first, and we've done an amazing test group that the results are incredible, then what happens is diet and exercise and nutrition, you're no longer white knuckling it. It's just what you do, it's who you are. And so that's that permanent mindset shift, that diet, exercise, nutrition, and being healthy is just who you are, and it's just what you do.
I'm wondering if this kind of ties in with it. I remember seeing a video done by Mel Robbins. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Like, she's a coach. And she talked about how, with her own fitness and wellness, what helped her was that she, just like in life, like you get up in the morning and you unload the dishwasher. And like, do you want to unload the dishwasher? Do you feel like unloading the dishwasher? No, like you don't, but you just do it. It's just part of your habit, your routine that you have to do because you have to get the dishes out of there. And so she came to approach, fitness, and it's just something, it's part of her life. She has to do. Like, don't think about it, over analyze it. Do I feel like it? I don't feel like unloading the dishwasher. I don't feel like working out, but just sort of having the mindset that it's just part of my life that I do. Does that relate at all to your program?
Yes. So you hit the nail on the head, but there's just one small piece missing, is that we all know this, but we don't all do this. So she must have had a mindset shift. And you can have it, who knows why some people do and some people don't. The majority of us act in a way that's in accordance of what we feel like doing, right? Shockingly, I don't like exercise. I'm a wellness coach. I dread it, but I never skip because I'm programmed. So the piece, you got it, Leanne, it's exactly that. But my program, my tools will teach you step by step, easy to follow, how to make that shift. Most people don't know. And you've got to go back and unpack a lot of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, came from our parents, our families around food. So we'll go through that process week by week, identify where you're stuck, and through these techniques, unstuck you, and then magic happens.
That's wonderful. I love the title of the program, like Get Your Sparkle Back Girl. That's
yes.
Yeah. Because I think that's what, so many of us in midlife,
Dull.
we feel dull and
Yes.
we feel like our sparkle's dimmed. And I think that's just such a great title for a program. How did you come up with it?
Yeah, well, two ways. Number one, the sentimental way is I went through this, myself at 47. I worked as a physical therapist for 20 years. I am married to a nice physician. On paper, like everything looked perfect, but I had lost my sparkle. And my mother one day said to me, Deborah, you have lost your sparkle. Like my mother said it, I could get emotional. And it really shook me, and I realized the reason was I wasn't living my authentic self. Physical therapy is great, but it wasn't my passion, it wasn't my purpose. I felt like I had another calling, and I pursued coaching, and then coaching has now taken me to educator, and I feel like I'm living my dream, to be honest. And when you're living your dream in balance and feeding your mind and body the way it's meant to, you sparkle. And what I found with my women and my clients, the hundreds and hundreds who were failing, were calling themselves terrible names. When they would admit it to me in private, they'd say, I feel like a loser. I feel fat, that terrible F word. They're calling themselves names, and they had lost their sparkle. It's devastating to me. That was what propelled me to say, these women need help. It's more than diet and exercise, and they need their sparkle back. So the actual truth is, my program is marketed as keeping weight off forever and stopping yo-yo dieting, but it's really not about that. It's that women listen when you say that. It's really about teaching them to get their sparkle back. And we go through that process together.
I know you're a big proponent of meditation, I'm wondering if that's part of your program. And just as a second question there, like I've done meditation at various. There was a time in my life when I was kind of at my low point or rock bottom, and I was looking for all sorts of tools to help me, and meditation was one of them. But I find now I don't find it as helpful, and so I haven't been doing it. But can you tell listeners, first of all, is it part of your program, and what are the benefits of it?
Yes, so it is a huge part of my program. In various forms, we do relaxing meditations just for stress, but we also do subconscious reprogramming meditations, which is at the beginning of the program to help shift that identity. What I'll say is this is meditation has been proven time and time and time again since the dawn of time to be an elixir for our minds. The problem people sometimes have with it is that you don't feel like you're doing anything, or you aren't really thinking it's working. And I would just encourage everyone to do it. And it's one of those things, I don't care if you don't like it, do it. It works because the meditation muscle in our brain actually gets developed every time we sit down for the 10 minutes and you say to yourself, but my mind's wandering, I can't focus. If that's who you are, you absolutely need it more than anyone, because every time you focus, your mind wanders and you come back, you're building that muscle, and it does translate into a calming effect in everyday life. So it's the type of thing that you need to kind of just trust. If you find a coach you believe, if you find a coach that looks successful and happy and they do it, then you say to yourself, all right, I'm going to give myself 6 months and I'm going to do it. And that's kind of how I was about it, because I wasn't convinced either. And over time, I found the effects were mind blowing.
I know Harvard University actually teaches mindfulness therapy to physician students, to upcoming physicians. But I think also the important thing to know about any sort of meditation, and you were pulling on that, was it's not an overnight fix.
No.
And to train the pathways in your brain, there's actually a word for it. It's called neuroplasticity, where you can actually retrain the way you think, which is so helpful in any sort of trauma or anything that triggers you, instead of jumping to that chaotic place. If you do meditate on a regular basis, it's not going to happen overnight, but you will learn to be able to keep cool, not respond, thing like that. But people have to know that this is not an overnight fix.
And I think what I love about it too is it's self-love. It's 10, even if you do 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes that you have given yourself in a quiet space, in a quiet room, to do absolutely nothing but lie there. And that will still have a positive effect. So sometimes I tell my clients when they're iffy about it and they're not sure, all right, just think about, is 10 minutes for you to lie still. So yes, absolutely agree with all that.
In your program, like when you're saying lie still, I have awful anxiety, always have since I was a child. And if somebody would tell me to lie still in my bed, that's when my what if starts to come and all my worrying. So do you provide your clients with, let's say, some sort of imagery or music so that somebody like me does not think about what's ahead of me or every disaster that's coming up for my week ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. And so my clients download the Calm app, which is incredible. It changed everything for me. I mean, I'm not a paid sponsor by them or anything, but they have a 30-day beginner meditation. But even without that, they have music, they'll talk you through, they do a 10-minute daily, the daily Calm. And so I also tell my clients, you don't even have to do 10 minutes. Start with 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. And then you build up. And so I'm an anxious person. I suffer from anxiety and depression. The meditation over time changed that for me.
And does 2 minutes a day like really make a difference? Or is it the 2 minutes will train you to get in the habit so then you expand it? And, like, I'm a busy person, as I'm sure we all are. So, my argument will be, I don't have time for it. So what is I guess, I sound like such a type A productivity person here, but what is the minimum amount of time that someone needs to meditate every day in order to get the benefit of it?
So I think you just hit on a key thing. And I think I'm going to challenge you and tell you that your mindset is backwards. You don't have time not to do it. You don't have time not to put your health, physical wellness first, period. It has to be written into your schedule. So for instance, I wake up at 5 every day. I go to bed at a decent hour. I try to go to bed by 9, but my first hour and a half, and I'm busy, I'm launching a bit, I'm busy, we're all busy, is self-care. It's exercise, it's meditation, it's subconscious reprogramming, it's journaling, it's gratitude. When I did that, and this is part of the course, is what we take the clients through this gradually, we don't throw it all at them. And I also educate on what it takes to form a habit. These are habits, like you just said earlier with the dishwasher. When you start to do this, it's terrifying at first because you feel like, I don't have time for this. When you shift your mind and you look at the most successful people, this was part of my research, the top people who have longevity, they dedicate hours to self-care. Every single one of them. They meditate, they work out every day, they eat well most of the time, and they have healthy relationships. The people who burn out are having that reverse. Okay, so, but this is understandable. Most people don't think this way. We're not trained. We're rewarded for being so productive and, a high executive and corporate. We have it backwards. We can do all that, but you make time for that after you've cared for yourself first, and then everything falls into place.
I think the challenge I have is that, and I went through a stage where as I say, I embraced all of that, and I wasn't as busy in my job as I am now when I was doing all of that. And when I look around, like I work at a firm, and I'm chair of a group there, and I was a partner at the firm I came from. And when I look, to my colleagues who are partners at law firms, and I look to my ex-husband, even who's like a very successful financial advisor, by all people would say he's very successful. When I look to my friends who are partners at some of the biggest law firms in the country and business executives and things like that, a lot of these people do not, like I read Robin Sharma and I read Tony Robbins and those people, and they talk about, you need to do this and you need to be get up at 5 a.m. and spend that first hour doing the 20 or whatever. But when I look to a lot of people I know who are successful, they aren't doing that. And so I think that's where I'm having a hard time. As I've gotten busier and making more money and having more success in my career, like, why is that so important? If I can look to my peers and I feel like, yeah, Tony Robbins is doing it and he's at a different level of success, but like the partners at my law firm who are successful are not.
I think a couple things here. I think you have to define what is success. So if they are financially successful, that's fantastic, and you can be, but that is one measure of success. I don't know these people. I don't know what their relationships look like. I don't know what their body looks like. I don't know what their mind looks like. So it has to be, what is your definition of success? I do know that eventually, if they're not doing those things, they will run out of steam. And so if you're making 7, 8 figures and you're not taking care of your mind, your body, relationships, to me, that's not successful. I believe you can have it all. The other piece is, it really doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. The question is what are you doing, and are you optimal? Do you feel
Are you
optimal?
happy?
Are you happy? Do you feel at optimal health? Physical, mental, emotional? How are your relationships? How your career? And if you're not answering yes to that, then the research shows you need to do self-care. Now, I do want to be clear, it looks different for everybody, and not everybody has to spend an hour and a half in the morning at all. That's when you're kind of have been doing it and you build up. It's starting with something, and the ladies who go through my course, that would be overwhelming for them. The other piece that I'm also a high performance coach that I do one-on-one, and I work with women as well individually an hour at a time for 12 weeks. And we develop a plan if they need a little bit more of an intense, like, one-to-one plan. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, but I will say, make sure that your definition of success looking at other people is involving all areas.
Now, do we all need there's I always say, like, there's certain tools in the toolbox. So meditation might be one, exercise might be one, journaling might be one, reading, could be one, like the reading a personal growth book or whatnot. Um, is there, like, if someone, like, do different tool, like, if we're trying to decide what should our go-to tools be, do we need all of these, or is it sufficient to pick one or two that we seem to like the most and pick those? Or what's your advice on that?
I mean, absolutely, starting small is always a better idea. And it just depends in the area of your life that you're struggling with. And so that's where a great coach can come in, and you can have a strategy call. And usually with my clients, I give them one tool for the week. That's, just one thing that they can start to do. And it starts to become a spiral effect, because as you get effects and you see improvement in one area, your life starts to fall into place. And I truly believe that when you are putting self-care first, the universe starts to align for you. And that's just a belief I have. I've seen it happen with myself, I've seen it with my clients. And when you're putting yourself last, you constantly feel like you're clawing to get things done, and that's usually a sign that you need to back up. And so you absolutely can start with one area depending on where you're struggling. If it's anxiety, for instance, one of the best tools is a gratitude exercise. You can't feel gratitude and anxious. Your brain cannot compute them both at the same time. So we incorporate that as well. If that's all you started with, great. And then you can build up from there. I don't think it's enough to do that. I think really, if you want to be a rock star, because who doesn't, you eventually need to build everything up, but you have to want that. So you have to decide yourself that you want it all. And then, you kind of go from there.
So do you think it's possible for someone that, let's say, does have anxiety and depression to change their mindset and change their daily practices and perhaps be able to give up the need for traditional medicine?
Well, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I do have a degree in psychology. So I always refer people to their physician. I would never give advice on medication. I've been doing therapy. My husband and I, we're like happily married. We go to therapy once a week. Like, I tell my clients, you need to go to therapy and you need a coach and you need to do all this, and your life will be like perfect. But no one does. I mean, so number one is go to a therapist, speak to your doctor. All right. So you have a plan of care with them. Perfect. After that, I really do believe that there's room for improvement. I myself took antidepressants. I started during my separation. Looking back, I'm pretty sure I struggled with depression and anxiety even in my teen years, but it wasn't identified. And I went off that medication. Now, that's me, and I'm not recommending that for anyone else, but I have never been happier. And I can only attribute it. Because my life circumstances haven't changed in the past 4 years that I've had this transformation. The only thing that has changed are my daily habits. That's it. My daily habits that I do every day, and of self care. And it's miraculous because I never would imagine that I'd have such a change. So to answer your question, I do believe there's absolute room for less anxiety, less stress by doing the exercises that we do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, Deborah. Pleasure
You're
to see you as always.
Yes, thank you.
And I wish you all the best and good luck with your new business.
Thank you
I'm sure you'll
guys.
be helping a lot of people. And if people want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah, they can go to getyoursparklebackgirl.com and they can get all my contact information there. Hope to see them there.
Thanks again for coming.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
I'm Jennifer Barkin.
And I'm Leanne Townsend. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time on The Dish on Divorce.
Bye.